What's up fellow hunters, Nox here, welcome to another exciting build video. Today we're going to talk about the ultimate elemental Switchaxe builds in Sunbreak. We're going to see one without health draining skills and one with Dereliction. I will show a budget version first that is really easy to make, and a upgraded version right after to give you some extra ideas. Let's go. We're going to start with the Divine Punisher. This is now the strongest elemental Switchaxe build without health draining skills. Even the budget version has insane damage output. To get all the essentials, all you need is a talisman with Furious level 2 and 1 level 3 slot, and that is actually really common now. You now also have the option to use the new Hazard Superconductor event quest to farm talismans really fast. Since we're in the endgame stage, the budget version is gonna use 2 augmented parts. But no need to worry, these are super easy to manage. All we need is 1 level of Dragon Conversion and Furious. In this case, they're on the helmet and waist. I'm using the Magmatron Switchaxe as example here, but this can be used with any of the top elemental Switchaxes. We're gonna see all of the best weapon choices after the build. Since our main focus is elemental damage, we of course have level 5 of whatever element we choose. Then we have Element Exploit to increase our elemental damage by 10% when attacking weak spots, along with Burst, which increases the element output further when landing continuous hits. Depending on the weapon, we also get to add Teostra or Kushala Blessing for an additional 10% elemental damage on top. With everything active, my element went from 131 all the way up to 265. That is a ridiculous amount for a build that doesn't use Dereliction. To understand how to get these crazy numbers, we have to take a closer look at the core skills of the build. The first one is the new skill Blood Awakening. This is also part of a massive skill synergy here, but let's go over the effect first. Blood Awakening will increase our attack and element when regenerating a certain amount of health by landing attacks. At level 3, we get 15 attack and element when recovering 50 HP. And after recovering 150 HP, that buff gets increased to 40 attack and 30 element. That's an insane damage boost. This effect will last for 30 seconds after activating the first stage of the buff. You also don't have to be missing any health to activate this skill. As long as you deal enough damage to recover the required amount of HP, the skill will activate. So you can even activate this when your health is completely full. We have 2 ways to regenerate HP with attacks. The first one is going to be a skill synergy that comes with the build. Part Breaker, Blood Right, and Recovery Up. Part Breaker level 3 will allow us to break monster parts 30% faster, which is going to come in very handy. Next we have Blood Right, which will give us health regeneration anytime we attack a broken monster part. And then we have Recovery Up. This will simply increase the amount of health we get from any kind of source. These 3 skills make a perfect synergy with Blood Awakening, allowing us to activate the skill much faster and more consistently. And the second way to recover health with attacks is of course by having Blood Blight. We get affected by this when fighting afflicted monsters. Having Blood Blight will add a health regeneration effect to every one of your attacks, which makes health regeneration really easy. In case you're thinking 150 HP sounds like a lot to recover, take a look at this. I recovered about 60% of my HP with only 3 hits in about 2 seconds. If you have an offensive playstyle, you can activate the full buff in around 5 seconds, which is fantastic. For the most amount of health regeneration, you can easily max out Blood Right and Recovery Up if you want to. Anytime you fight afflicted monsters, you also have the choice of dropping the Blood Right skill entirely, since you will be afflicted with Blood Blight anyway. I still recommend keeping at least 1 level of Blood Right in the build though, just to be safe. And of course, we're also making use of the amazing synergy between Furious and Dragon Conversion. Furious is really simple. As long as we're on the red scroll, it will give us 20 points to all resistances. And while on the blue scroll, Dragon Conversion will give us an additional plus 15 to all resistances after attacking the monster a certain number of times. Cool thing is, this resistance buff carries back over to the red scroll where the magic happens. Back on red, Dragon Conversion takes all resistance and counts it together. Then, the combined element resistance is transformed into element attack at a rate of 25%. This will give us another massive boost to element attack. Aside from a huge elemental skill synergy, we also have attack boost level 4 for a nice additional damage boost. Even though our focus is not on landing critical hits, we have Weakness Exploit for its great DPS value, and even some critical boost to go along with that. Then we of course have all of the Switchaxe essentials. Maximum Rapid Morph, as well as 2 levels of Evade Extender and Power Prolonger. All of these add extra DPS and smoothness to the Switchaxe playstyle. For sharpness management, we have Protective Polish level 3. This will keep our sharpness at purple for a full 90 seconds after sharpening. Be aware of the handicraft decoration, since not all of the weapons we'll see after the build need this to reach purple sharpness. If you're going to use these exact parts, the augment recommendations will look like this. Getting 1 level of Dragon Conversion and Furious as an augment is of course the first thing you want to do. After that, you can start filling in the gaps and prioritizing any skills you like. Maxing out Burst, Recovery Up or Blood Right has good additional value. An efficient way to do that would be going for slot upgrades. Those will give you plenty of customization options here. Now we're going to take a look at the upgraded version of the build that includes more augments and some part variations. We'll get to what exactly my augments are in a moment as well. The talisman I'm using for this one has 3 levels of Furious. The evade extender is a nice bonus, but not required. We can get that in other ways as well. As you can see, the upgraded version of the build is absolutely monstrous. Most of you already know that I don't use any mods, so this is very manageable. The first thing I did was switch out the waste for the Risen Shagaru one. This gives us access to both Bloodlust and Frenzied Bloodlust. Bloodlust will give us additional affinity, and Frenzied Bloodlust will give us an additional wire bug. How long we are able to keep that wire bug will depend on the level of the skill. Even at level 1, this has great value. Burst, Blood Right, and Crit Boost are now maxed out. Then I added Intrepid Heart and Defiance to give a nice amount of extra comfort to the build. And as a bonus, I went for 1 level of Powder Mantle to add some extra damage to the build. I personally dropped the recovery up to level 1 because I have a very offensive playstyle and can kind of get away with it. I definitely recommend trying this out with recovery up at level 2 or 3 first though. Depending on the weapon you're using, you will be able to add more skills. The upgraded and budget version of this build have fantastic damage output and survivability. This one is a definite must-have for your endgame loadouts. These are my current augments if you're trying to recreate a similar version of the build. You can of course get any augments on whatever part you want. The only necessary ones here are 2 levels of dragon conversion since I switched out the waste. The rest can all be replaced with other things if you like. Even just going for slot upgrades can give you access to pretty much anything you might want here. For example, Wirebug Whisperer would be a great addition to this as well. Before we get to the next build, let's take a look at all of our best weapon options. We have Almadron and Amatsu for water, Lagombi for ice, Calamitous and Primordial Malzeno for dragon, and then Kezu or Narwa for thunder. For both water and ice, make sure to swap the flame scale for Iron Shell decorations to get the 10% elemental boost. Keep in mind that thunder and dragon don't have any decorations like this, so you can replace the flame scale or Iron Shell decoration for anything else you might like. Next we have the Demonic Force, a max DPS build that uses Dereliction and hits like an absolute truck. Just like the previous build, I'm only using the Magmadron Switchaxe as example here. You can use this with any of the Switchaxes we saw a moment ago. The base elemental setup is the exact same as for the Divine Punishment. Max element attack, 1 level of element exploit, burst, Teostra or Kushala Blessing, and the synergy between Furious and Dragon Conversion. But then we have one big difference. Instead of Blood Awakening, we're now using the Dereliction and Strife combo. With everything active, my element went from 131 all the way up to 276, which is massive. Dereliction will slowly drain our health but give us additional element on the red scroll. At level 1 we get 5, 8 or 12 additional element depending on the number of Kurio flying around us. And since Dereliction will leave us with constant red health, this will automatically activate Strife. At level 2, Strife will increase our element by 10 to 15% depending on how much red health we have. We always get at least 10% even if it's just the tiniest bit of red. These two skills are an amazing combination in general. By the way, you can use a gourmet fish and eat for the super recovery dango to slow down the Dereliction health drain. All of the Switchaxe essentials like Rapid Morph, Power Prolonger and Evade Extender are of course here as well. Aside from that, we again have various other damage increasing skills like Attack Boost, Weakness Exploit, Critical Boost and a few other things. The build also comes with Intrepid Heart and Shock Absorber for added comfort and safety. Protective Polish is down to level 2, but that can of course be upgraded later on. In case you're wondering why we have 3 levels of Handicraft, that just comes with the Risen Shagaru chest. This part has 2 levels of Strife, 3 levels of Handicraft and decent slots, which already makes it pretty good. But the fact that we can use the ammo up as fodder for the advanced augmenting methods makes it incredibly valuable. The augment recommendations are very similar to the previous ones. The only real difference is that you should definitely try to get Strife up to level 3. After that, you can fill in the gaps or go for anything else you like. Another good addition to the build is Blood Right. That will give you some health regeneration as a bonus to counter Dereliction. For the upgraded version of the build, I again switched out the waste and added a few additional things. Strife, Burst and Crit Boost are now maxed out. I also added Coalescence and Powder Mantle level 1 as additional damage sources. The overall damage output has gotten a significant upgrade. For some extra comfort, I added Defiance into this build as well, but feel free to use additional slots in any way you like. This is what my current augments are looking like. The only necessary ones are again 2 levels of dragon conversion since I switched out the waist. You can also see why the chest piece we mentioned earlier is so incredibly valuable. I got a 3rd level of strife and a slot upgrade, meaning this armor piece now has 3 levels of strife, 3 levels of handicraft, a level 4 and 2 level 1 slots. That's ridiculous. And you can get even better stuff. I definitely got lucky with the legs here, but the arms and waist could literally have anything else on them as well. An important bonus worth mentioning in this video is the Title Update 5 build. It is still so good that it competes with these 2 new ones. Together, they are the top 3 elemental Switchaxe builds to have in Sunbreak. So in case you missed that one, definitely go check it out and add it to your loadouts. Make sure to check out the other builds for all kinds of weapons on the channel so you don't miss anything you might enjoy. Thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.